Well, joining me in studio for more is Dr. Eytan Cohen Yanarocak, a Turkey expert at the Jerusalem Institute for Strategy and Security. And hi, great to have you back.
Thank you.
So what do you think happened here, Hi? What do you think convinced Turkey to back off on the charges that they looked like they were preparing against this country?
Well, yesterday we all have seen the news in the Israeli press that the head of the Mossad, David Barnea, intervened in the affair. And since then, I expected that there would be some new developments in this affair. And from my perspective, since this affair was the continuation of the Mossad affair, which was, took place approximately a month ago.
Right, in which a little over a dozen Arabs were arrested and charged with spying on behalf of Israel, something Israel
Indeed. But then Israel ignored.
Right.
Today, from my perspective, the Turkish intelligence agency used this current affair in order to receive some advantages and some concrete gains from that particular affair. So that's why they made these negotiations with the Israeli intelligence, and after the intervention of the Israeli Mossad, as far as I understand, the Turks decided to release. So in Israel now, people are saying that we did not pay any price for their release. Well, let me tell you, I disagree with that. I assume that the Turkish intelligence agency might receive something in concrete that the Israeli intelligence did not want to give in return.
Right.
I mean, these are all probabilities. What might be what might be our scenarios, our options? Maybe the Israeli agency decided not to operate its own agents or its subcontractors inside the Turkish territory anymore. Or maybe Israel will going to pave the way for further penetration of the Turkish foundations in the West Bank, in the Gaza Strip, and maybe it would be a huge mistake, but maybe also at the capital, Jerusalem.
All right. We're only speculating. Let's be clear.
Yeah. Speculating. We do not know something, but
right.
I guess it was not for free. I do not expect anything from this current administration of Turkey from free.
Right. Well, speaking of President Erdogan, he did have his first direct phone call with Prime Minister Bennett. Could that have been one of the goals of this thing, to open the lines of communication, direct lines of communication between the leaders at a time when Turkey has a lot of concerns about Israel, especially, for example, its involvement in the Eastern Mediterranean, the natural gas issue, maybe even in the situation in Libya?
I mean, why would he wait for an escalation to do that? I mean, Mr. Bennett assumed his office, and basically President Erdogan could phone him in order to
congratulate him. Okay, you asked the question.
Yes.
What's the answer?
So the timing, I don't know. I mean, this is very unfortunate that if we are trying to build something constructive on the ruins of another thing, I don't know if it will, if we can erect this thing. I mean, I'm very much skeptical about this. And unfortunately, I do not believe that we will have a genuine normalization unless we are going to see a real U-turn in the Turkish foreign policy in the near future. And even if we are seeing some signals of normalization, I think this is something tactical. The Turkish side is trying to smash the Israeli, Greek, Cypriot, and Egyptian axis.
Right. Which is centered, for those viewers who don't understand, it's centered around developing natural gas resources offshore in the Eastern Mediterranean that Turkey says part of it is in its territory. Makes that claim.
I agree with you that Turkey would like to, intervene and disintegrate this kind of an axis, but in order to do so, they should also offer Israel something in return.
Right.
With this kind of, constant diplomatic crisis,
right.
I don't know how Israel would be persuaded to leave the Greek and Cypriot camp and to become the ally of Turkey. This is also applicable for the Egyptian case.
Do you think it was any factor, very briefly, the economic impact that it could deter tourism, certainly Israeli tourism and more tourists?
I mean, I was born in Turkey, and during my childhood, I always heard about stories. How pity that people are conducting defamation against Turkey because of this Midnight Express movie.
Right.
This particular thing, this particular affair, from my perspective, is the mother of Midnight Express.
Right.
So this is an own goal in terms of terminology of soccer.
Right. Anybody who remembers that film, Midnight Express from the 1980s, knows the images that it evokes in people's minds about going to a Turkish prison, especially if you're a foreigner.
It's an own goal. Really.
Right. Well, let's thankfully the Oknins are back home in Israel and not experiencing that. Dr. Eytan Cohen Yanarocak, thanks for joining us on the rundown.